Okay, I missed the video yesterday. I did some crazy trading, actually ended up pretty much break even for the day. I did 27 trades and I pretty much traded all day. And I traded on my phone, and so it just was impossible to grab any screenshots. And overall, I would say it was pretty good trading. I was cautious and I put my stops in where I should, and I watched my bottom line, and I tried to wait for good opportunities to get in, which is kind of why I traded all day, because I would set an alert, and then when it would trigger, I was able to look at it and then decide if it was a good time to get in. If it was, so I think it was a good way to trade. It's just impossible to grab screenshots when I do that. So I think for today, I'm going to try this a little bit different because I really want to capture my trading days in the most helpful way for me without impeding my trading. And so I'm going to just start by analyzing the market this morning. We're looking at it at about 8:47 this morning, starting, and this is the 1 hour chart. And you can see that we've got kind of a mixed bag here. So unfortunately, let me go back out to the actual chart here. If you look at the 1 hour chart and overall like this, all right, it looks to me like we're on a downtrend, and we have been for about a week and a half, maybe even. If you could even go back to this point here and call that a downtrend, even though this is a tremendous push upwards, it's still lower than that last peak. So this is all part of this downtrend recovery mode. So just looking at this, we are, we're still in a downtrend, and it could possibly be dropping. In fact, the MACD looks like it's above the average line and starting to maybe turn a little bit. All right, but as we zoom in, you can see that from this point, that's still a downtrend, excuse me. You can see from the 15-minute chart more clearly the last 2 days have been more of an uptrend, sort of. The only thing is yesterday it did dip way down here, which that was kind of a shocker. So I still think it's pretty wobbly. This pink band was interesting in the way it interacted with that. If I zoom in a little bit, it kind of followed the bottom side of that pink band, and it zipped above it at one point and then zipped below it, but it's definitely still kind of interacting with that band. And then this morning it's kind of I've formed another band here that's a little bit higher than the old one, in the best possible way to capture all that information, I think. It's hard to tell. But we could also probably draw in a line down here. Yeah, I guess a line's the best way to go. And we'll call this support. So the long and the short of it is, I think I'm going to trade both longs and shorts just depending on where the market is right now. So we are pretty extended here. It's pretty high. The RSI on the 5-minute chart here is lower than it is over here. So that's interesting. It's kind of lost momentum, I would say, but there's a huge push upwards. So right now I think we might be sitting at a possible drop. So I think the trade that we want to make here is something along these lines. All right. I think that would be a fine place for a stop as well. Another thing that has been kind of messing with my mind is I watched a video yesterday, just an inspirational video about a trader, and he was saying he never moves his stop down to break even. He just lets it play out. And that's something I've been kind of on the fence about. I've kind of come around to the idea that I just need to take all the risk off the table just as quickly as possible. But that also means that I lock in profit and most often will get stopped out before it reaches my limit order. That seems to be the way that I trade, and it seems to be perhaps the most profitable way. But it's also kind of a frustrating sort of way because it will often drop all the way down to my limit order and fill it. And so I feel like I miss out sometimes. So it kind of, I don't know, there was a couple times yesterday where I just let it ride. And I did get, I lost money. It would go up to my stop and then stop me out. So I don't think for me that is the best way to trade. There is a benefit to it doing that way, because if you do, make your analyzation and figure out what trade you want to do, and then just walk away. You look at another screen and trade on another account or whatever. It does take the emotional aspect out of it. So you just you set it, and you just I don't really care what it's going to do. It's either going to make it or it's not. And the likelihood of them making it, if you have a number of accounts, goes up. And so it's an interesting way to trade. It's definitely putting more money on the table, I guess, because you would have to have multiple accounts to do that. But yeah, it's playing around in my head. It's is this a good idea or not? I don't know. So what I'm thinking here too is this right here is almost the same as this bottom candle here. So it's possible it will get stopped out right at that point. And the other thing that I do tend to do is if it goes down and then just seems to get stuck on a spot, right there, I will, if it's more than $20, I will raise up my limit and just get out. And I had a number of trades yesterday that I was very, very glad that I did that. It was this kind of a situation where it's okay, I think it's going to drop, and then it kind of stagnated, so I got out, and then it shot up, or something along those lines. It definitely went the wrong way for a while. So I still think I need to hang on to that idea. Since I only have one account, I just get out at a positive amount, the best I can do. And each trade is going to be a little bit different. You just kind of get a feel for the way the candles are forming as to which way is going to be more weighted. So how it kind of quickly went up there and then jumped, I just lost it all of a sudden. That was a good sign. But it is not a good sign that it is trying really, really hard to get above that SMA there. The other thing that's really helpful is to switch between the different time frames, because the 5-minute look is really good for a drop right here. So that helps me to just hang on. And I really like where my limit is there. In fact, I could probably even move it down to here, but that would be over a 10-point drop. So that'd be 14 points. That would be a pretty big trade. Versus this one is a 7-point trade. So that's $35 here. So I'm happy with that. I think that's good. And then if you go out to the 15-minute chart, all of a sudden we're not looking so good. So that was why I would not want to put it all the way down here. That makes sense to me. I like where it's at. And because I'm pretty confident that it's going to be dropping, then I'm less likely to move my stop down to break even. Because as you can see, if I had done that, I would have gotten stopped out when it retested that level. And I'm pretty confident because the 1 and the 5-minute charts agree with each other, and all the rest of the indicators on both of them kind of show that it will be dropping. Pretty confident that it will drop. But if I ever become unsure, all right, and here we're at a level where there's kind of a support, so it's not surprising that it's struggling to get through that point. But my mind hasn't changed yet either. Okay, the MACD is starting to lose that downward momentum. We've got 2 pink candles next to each other here. All right, now we got a nice red one. Turned into a red one, so that's good. Okay, now we're getting close to that $20 mark. That's good. All right, and we're looking good. All right, so now that it's reached 20, I want to try to take that here. So trying not to put it too close. Hopefully that's not too close. Yeah, I think it's a little close. Ah, ooh, that was close. All right. All right, now it's sitting at that support level. Oh, and got stopped out. So that would have been like $160 on the ES, just to keep things in perspective from when I'm used to trading. Okay, 124. How did that happen? Because of commissions. Ah, that's what it was. So that's nothing to get real excited about. See, and if I had just left my stop up there, I would have been fine. This is where I need to maybe just let it go. I could see bringing it down to break even, but getting stopped out at less than half my profit, that's frustrating. I don't think that's good trading. All right, so maybe I should have done that differently. I just see that $20 amount. I think, oh, I gotta lock that in. Okay, so here is my trading day. I got into a short here and got out here, so that was profitable. This one was kind of interesting. I got in here and I really thought it was going to be dropping, which it eventually did, as you can see, but it went very, very flat, and there was some signs that it may be going up, and I put my stop there to protect myself, and I got stopped out by about 4 points. And I could have raised it up, but that would have been a pretty big loss for me. So I got stopped out, and then it dropped, and it dropped very fast. And at this point here, it is, I think, a 20-point drop, or maybe it's closer to 10 actually. 10 or 15-point drop, which is pretty big. It had a rise up, and at that point I thought we were looking at a reversal. So I got in, and I ended up getting out at a little bit smaller place than I had thought. I got out near the SMA there, it looks like. But it was profitable, so that's good. And then it started to drop again. So when I saw that, I got into another short and rode it way down. And that was a good trade for me. And then it continued to drop, which absolutely shocked me. And at that point, all right, so it's at 38 and it started off at 87-ish. So already that's like a 50-point drop. So the fact that it had dropped that far that quickly, and this is only by like not even 9:45 yet, I thought, well, there might be more dropping coming, and I had these support levels drawn in here. So I got into a short, waited through this point. I think I had maybe put it down to break even. I'm not sure how I played that out, but it continued to drop, and I think I made like $80 on that trade, if I'm not mistaken. So that was an incredible trade. And at that point, I was at a profit of like $68 for the day. So I was very happy. I just kind of stopped and did some other things. And it, I figured it was at a support level, and it did. It bounced off at that point, went back down, but not very far. I missed all this. I wasn't watching. Otherwise, I don't think I would have been tempted to trade, because already we'd hit a support, and we're showing signs of weakness in its descent here. So then it started to go up pretty strongly, and at this point was when I came over here to make my video and noticed that we were sitting at a pretty decent place to trade again. So, because we'd already had our rise and we're looking to drop again. So I got into a short, and I had a stop down here on the support level. I mean, not a stop, but a limit. I was expecting it to go all the way down to here. But I'd forgotten that I had my risk settings set to a max profit for the day of $75. So I got stopped out kind of automatically, which I was not expecting. And it was kind of disappointing because, as you can see, it continued to drop. However, this was a big wick upwards, and it might have scared me out. So I guess it was all good. So I got out, and I ended up not making any more trades because at that point it had continued to go up, which kind of surprised me. So I decided, this is good. So anyway, I made 6 trades, and 4 of them were profitable. And the biggest one, as you can see, was $80. So my trades were generally about the same size as my losses, if not bigger. So I was very, very happy with my trading, and I made more good trades than bad. So that was that.